Turns out that manners matter, especially in the world of GenAI, as it should be. But I bet you never thought that your ChatGPT was waiting for you to say please and thank you. Well, that's really not what's happening, but you kind of catch my drift. Let's go to a little bit of the details. The good folks at Microsoft, Beijing Normal University, and from the Chinese Academy of Sciences, they did a study where they evaluated when the prompt included something emotional, as in this is really important for me, or this may give me, this may put me in line for a promotion. The GenAI models tended to do way better than when those lines of instruction were not in the prompt. Another example, I add a prompt at the very end of all my prompts where it says, please take a deep breath, check your work, and edit accordingly. It's not really like the ChatGPT or Claude are really like, I should evaluate my work. What I'm giving it is instructions to go revise its work and then edit it accordingly. No matter how much we want it to be so, GenAI does not have emotions. That's just what it is. What does happen is that these models are extremely high-level calculators. It's like your phone, and your phone doesn't have an emotion, correct? But what it does and what it can do is when you start typing to somebody, it predicts what is the next word. And sometimes it's like you are my worst enemy, and you know what happens when instead of that Y, there's another word, another letter coming at the end. Exactly the same thing. What it's doing, it's recognizing patterns based on data, the amount of data that it was trained on. So this is basically what AI is doing, except it's doing it with images, with sound, and with music, you name it. Emotive prompting is really interesting because they're like specific instructions that we can give our AI to act in ways that it usually wouldn't. And it's not that the AI, again, is having any emotions, because it can't. I will repeat this again, it can't. But what it's doing is that it's using certain words or phrases that are going to tap into the AI's training in a way that it makes it respond differently. Again, it's all about the set of training that it has. Being nice to an AI, saying please or saying thank you. Some folks go even as far as tipping your GPT. I know, sounds bizarre, but they do. And they say that their GPT tends to do much better when they do so. It really doesn't make the AI, it doesn't understand or it doesn't care, but it does influence the model to generate responses that are going to seem a little bit more cooperative or more aligned with what you're really looking for. Why? Because the AI is really designed to predict and to generate responses that are going to be based on probabilities. Remember, they are trained on all of our data, including on Reddit. How about manipulating AI responses, or the famous jailbreaking? Yeah, that's when we talk about the double-edged sword. That can happen. Just as you can do emotive prompts to encourage all these GPT models to respond much better, you can do the same thing to bypass all the systems or the lines, the restrictions that AI models, the Gen AI models have to not do things that are going to be hurtful in any form or matter. And you've seen it, the case of the gentleman that apparently was able to confuse a chatbot to sell them a car for $1, things like that. So the reason that these manipulations sometimes can work is due to the way that the AIs are being trained. If there's a mismatch between the general knowledge that it has and the output, these things are going to happen. However, I do want to say, just as fast as everything is happening, everybody, the folks that are in charge of developing, they're catching up, and there's a lot of fixes and patches in the background. Finding the perfect way to prompt or to create that prompt, even if it's customizing your GPTs, We have a video about that. It's not custom GPTs, it's customizing your GPTs. It creates the desired response that you want from your AI. This is quite tricky, and even if I have the same prompt here, you might get a different response afterwards. The hope is that eventually in the future, we are going to get different systems that are going to do all this prompting for us. But meanwhile, prompting well really helps us to get in the right mindset, to organize our thoughts, and frankly, to start getting a little bit smarter and savvier into the world of GenAI. And again, like we always say at the end of our session, I am not in IT, I am not in systems, and I am not definitely in the world of computers, but what I am is I'm very passionate about this, including steampunk and books and dogs and all things coffee. And just like a bunch of my friends, we do spend a lot of our weekends and our nights just to test and go out and find out what's in the world happening in the world of AI. We test it, we prove it so that you don't have to. Thank you so much for joining us. Go ahead, be human, be kind, and make sure you grab a good cup of coffee today. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.